You're listening to Over the Top Radio on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
So basically, TNA's on Destination America. Things seem to be great at first, but then all of a sudden they start canceling TNA programming, and they decide they're going to move them to a new night. And so all this is going on. There's buyer's remorse going on, basically, and the station decides that after September, they're just not going to renew TNA, and somehow Dave Meltzer is privy to emails from Destination America, and he got the story that they're not renewing after September, or that's the plan of right now. And he posted
also, advertisers don't want to advertise during the show is one of the main things, since it is a highly rated show.
Yeah.
One thing you need to point out.
But, okay, well, I'll get back to that in a second, because that's kind of absurd to me, but basically, TNA fans and TNA management and Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins and Dixie Carter and all the, if you think Robert's a crazy internet fan, there's even more crazier TNA fans that have lost their goddamn mind. And basically, to them, Dave Meltzer is the devil, and he needs to be sacrificed to the gods. Or something, because it's just going crazy. Just all the shit going on. But regarding your point about the advertisers, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't get Destination America, but don't the majority of their shows consist of searching for Bigfoot,
and
ghosts, and like swamp people, and just all kinds of shit like that? So how are these people more attractive than wrestling fans? I mean, basically,
Bigfoot's over with the regular people.
Where is over than fucking Bigfoot? People looking for Bigfoot?
Your wrestling show called TNA. Figure it out.
It's true.
No.
It's the truth. I only speak the truth.
Yeah, it's almost like a kill the messenger type mentality, and it sucks because Dave always gets his facts straight before he reports any news. Him and Brian both never hear something that's and report it as fact before they find out it as fact.
Well, Brian doesn't wait till Dave confirms it, and then Brian will, write it like he has.
Sure.
He did.
There's
work into it.
There's been times where speculation has been taken as fact, but they've known about this for a long time, and since it's come out, for whatever reason, like I said, it's killed the messenger, and almost blaming the journalist for what has happened, when, quite frankly, it's just not a very well-run company.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say this. I've known Brian for 18-plus years, and I am in awe of the people that he talks to, and the emails that are exchanged. And if you think Brian just, doesn't know anybody, he knows everybody.
No, he doesn't. He knows Raven, and he gets most of his news from Raven.
Poo-poo my point, Ed.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about the fat Raven. I'm talking about the little skinny
bottom line is
the
TNA fans make it sound like it's everybody's fault except TNA. When they got canceled on Spike, it was because Spike didn't do enough for them. Spike did everything for that show for, I don't know how many years they were on there, like 5 or 6 years or something. They put them on fucking Monday nights for 2 hours, for Christ's sake. What else you gonna do? They up and get Hulk Hogan to come in? I mean, it's not that channel's fault. No.
Well, first off, I never in my life thought I would be seeing Dave Meltzer and Billy Corgan shooting on Twitter and pretty much almost getting personal with each other. And that was just one of the most entertaining things. I mean, for God's sake, Dave Meltzer accused Corgan of being Vince Russo, basically. I don't know what could be a worse insult in pro wrestling. And
I'll say this.
And it's not just.
Go ahead. I'll say this. I have always been a fan of the Pumpkins. I've liked their music, but Billy Corgan at his core is kind of a jerk. And I'm cleaning up my language for what I really think about him. He has run through band members. He can't keep bands together. He does not have one original member in his band except him right now. And it's his way or the highway on all of his music. His first album that they put out called Gish, he wrote everything top to bottom and only got the band together because he needed a touring band. He's very mean-spirited, and it seems that he attacks people that are doing better than he is. One of his targets has been Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam, and quite frankly, they sell out arenas, and he can't sell out clubs right now. So, with all of that said, I heard him on Jericho's podcast, and I thought the ideas that he had sounded very good. And I was very optimistic for what he was going to do with TNA. Now he doesn't get that chance. So it seems. So I can't say anything about him as a booker because I've never seen any Resistance Pro. I mean, Lance would be a good guy to ask about Resistance because Lance did a lot of work for Billy. And a couple other folks that I can't think of off the top of my head, but he ran a pretty decent indie promotion for a bit. How does that translate to a major company with television? I have no idea. But the ideas that he brought up on Jericho's podcast, I thought were very intelligent, very well thought out, and he was very well spoken, and he presented these ideas of what he wanted to do with characters and who he wanted to push and things like that. So if you want to hear his firsthand account of what he wanted to do with TNA, go find the Jericho podcast from 3 weeks ago.
Okay. I never heard much for Smashing Pumpkins. I always thought, but I thought Disarm was a kick-ass song. That's about it.
Very good song. One of my favorites.
Yes.
Which one?
Disarm.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit, that whole album is fucking actually pretty awesome. Even when the Cancer made the first King of the Board song, it's actually to the music of Smashing Pumpkins, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty cool.
So I wanted to ask, did y'all see the latest story come out about the email Dixie Carter sent? Have you read this?
I did not see that. No, I have not.
Where she referred to the people at Destination America as dummies, and she actually sent it to the president of Destination America.
Oh, my goodness.
Do you have the whole email to read, or just that?
No, it's just a report on the board that came from another site, but it's been cited by, it was mentioned on, let me see. According to the Voices of Wrestling podcast, TNA now has egg on his face that after Dixie Carter inadvertently sent an email to Destination America insulting the network. The host said that a wrestler contacted them and were sent a screenshot from last week which featured TNA President Dixie Carter referring to the suits at Destination America as dummies. The screenshot also revealed that Carter had accidentally CC'd the email to the current president of Destination America. Didn't we got in trouble last time? Didn't they send an email talking about Vince Russo to Spike, and that's what Spike found out?
Yeah, Vince Vince Russo emailed Mike Johnson from Pro Wrestler Insider.
Mm-hmm. That was Mike TNA, I think.
Well, he thought he was emailing Mike TNA, but he sent it to Mike Johnson.
These people are dummies.
Basically, they said the whole thing, the same thing that they're saying now, that it's all lies and it's all bullshit and it's going to turn out to be true. Just like that.
Well, that's the thing. It seems that they have their defenses up when anybody says anything negative. That's their first thing, is to defend themselves, and they'll say anything to defend themselves, even if it's untrue. And the fact of the matter is, they shouldn't have been on that station to begin with. They offered TNA a spot. TNA took it because they had to. Yeah. And now, as you said, Ed, buyer's remorse, they realize that the programming, while it is doing pretty well ratings-wise compared to all their other programming, it doesn't fit on the show. And advertisers are skittish on wanting to buy advertisement on a wrestling program on Destination America. So you're getting it doubly. They don't want to advertise with a pro wrestling program, and it's on a station that not very many people get, and that their advertising dollars aren't well spent there. So who's the dummy?
Well, Destination America, really. They're the ones that hired them.
True, but they didn't have to take that station. It was the only one they had, and it was their only option. So, you know what I mean?
Well, you can't really call that a dumb move if that's their only option. They did what they had to do to survive. Being done would have not taken it and not having no TV and then being dead. At least some guys are getting paid for a few months instead of ending when they were kicked off the spike. So I can't really say it's a dumb move them going to Destination, because it's the only thing they could do to survive. They'd be dead without it. They're only prolonging the injury, but still, I can't say it's a dumb move.
I guess I can say I'll agree with you. It wasn't a dumb move, but it was their only move.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And it's just not like Billy Corgan fighting with Dave, because Dixie Carter and Dave have been going at it, and isn't Dave like threatening, or I don't think he's threatening, but he's talking about how he's been passing emails with her forever, and they've been going at it. Eric Young went crazy last night also, basically calling Dave like a fool and stuff, and a lot of the other wrestlers are like, I mean, I can see defending your product if, shit's like not true, but it's like, they have to know. I mean, how can they pretend that they don't know, or how can they just so blindly? I mean, it'd be one thing if it was Paul Heyman running TNA and he's feeding them the Paul Heyman Kool-Aid and they're believing. But I don't think Dixie can make Kool-Aid that good. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, it's going to make Eric Young look bad and other people who are defending it like that. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, you talk about defensive. I mean, I've never seen a company or fan get so defensive about something like this, and almost ever.
I just love the notion that, that Dave he's just making stuff up. Like, I don't think Dave Meltzer got up in the morning and decided, hey, there's no wrestling news today, so I'm going to put a story out that TNA got canceled by Destination America. Right. So he's not doing that. He's talking to people. There's something behind it. I don't feel stupid even having to, to approach, to even talk about that, because it's so idiotic. Makes me feel dumb even bringing it up. So,
The thing with Dave is Dave doesn't rate a lot of news, because Dave makes sure that the news, for the most part, is legitimate. I mean, sometimes he'll be wrong, but like the difference between him, there's three main reporters: Dave, there's Wade, and there's Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson gets credited for breaking a lot of stuff because that's what his gimmick is. He's got to break the stuff, and he'll be wrong. Like he was wrong about Daniel Bryan wrestling on the pay-per-view or on Raw, and a couple other things. I mean, he's really been wrong the last couple of weeks about stuff, but his thing is he's got to break it now, and he'll be right a lot of times. But like I say, he'll be wrong. Whereas Dave doesn't want to get that egg on his face, so he's going to reference it and double check. And that's why, we get the news. It's not breaking, but it's more detailed. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, there was a CM Punk last year.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
You showed me a report that there's never been false information, gotten something wrong. I show you a report that don't exist. So,
Or just the simple fact that, a guy said, well, let's take the CM Punk thing and just do a hyperbole. CM Punk at one time said he was going to wrestle on the show, and then he changed his mind because people do that from time to time.
Yeah, no, but on the internet, when plans change, it means that it was never supposed to happen in the first place.
Right.
So that's just the way it is on the internet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the IWC, I hate that term, the IWC, because that means that I'm a part of these people that are in this TNA shit, and I ain't. So. I'm
sure Rob was losing his goddamn mind when he searched dirt sheets, his daily search of dirt sheets to harass people. There's so many people, talking about the dirt sheets having the wrong information. I bet he's probably fucking gone into mental shock, having to respond to all these people and explain to them what a dirt sheet is.
Oh, Robert.
You're listening to Over the Top Radio on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.